One of the things that you first notice when you enter our building is the Commons. And in the Commons, we do have these great pictures that represent our state championship teams and our all-state athletes only. These pictures are a focal point for those that come in to see our natatorium, for those that come to events in the Magic Dome, or the people entering our school period. And one of the things that I noticed is some of our older pictures were getting a little difficult to see. They were fading over time because of the bright light that does come into the Commons. So in the spring of 2023, I approached Mr. McCann, our athletic director, in wanting to kind of freshen up the Commons and make sure that these pictures, don't become so faded that they're lost permanently. So with his help, we were able to apply to the foundation for some grant funding. The grant funds were absolutely needed, as we would not have been able to complete the project without the funding. And we were able to replace all of the glass with UV glass. We were able to have the photos restored as best as possible. And we were also able to repair some of the frames that were damaged over time or didn't match the others. The last item was the plaques. The plaques over time were red, so they were also discolored. We went with a different kind of metal material to make them all uniformed looked, so that now our Commons not only has UV glass, not only has new frames that match, but also the placards match over time, and these will not fade due to the sun.
Trout in the Classroom is a program put together between Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission as well as the PA Council of Trout Unlimited to give students the opportunity to raise trout in their classroom as the kind of overall project of it. But through that opportunity, students get to learn about just local PA ecology, local waterways, resource management and conservation, as well as different recreational and economic impacts that they have on just our local area. It's a really neat opportunity for students to engage in science practices. So students will actively monitor water quality on a regular basis. With that, they'll then make decisions to adjust certain parameters of our tank as a controlled system. And we raise them from eggs up to fingerlings, and then in the spring we will find a time for our students to release the trout that they raised right into a local approved waterway. I really hope that students walk away from participating in this program with not just a sense of accomplishment that they were able to successfully raise trout, but to maybe perk their interest in a career pathway in the sciences, and one that has, again, a local impact.
The Cochrane Collaboration Innovation Station was really born out of the idea that all of our primary students should have access to hands-on, high-quality STEM materials. And so my colleagues and I wrote a WASD Education Foundation grant that was generously funded and allowed us to purchase materials for every classroom to be used at Cochrane Primary. Every teacher has access to the library that has a myriad of STEM materials that can be used to enhance our core learning subjects as well as hands-on engaging lessons of their choosing. There's everything from Legos to building blocks to magnetic tiles that really allow students and teachers the opportunity to bring lessons to life.
We received a grant funding from the foundation for the Focus Zone last year, and we were able to implement the safe space for students where they're able to come down, they check their pulse and do a check-in to see where they're at emotionally, and we utilize the resources such as the bikes, the trampolines, the swings to get them to regulate and to find that point where it either cools them down or revs them up to then be able to come back down. Then we spend time with our relationship building and then move to the reasoning zone where we can help them with what problems they've had that day academically, with peers. If kids are more inward, we help them with ways they could raise their hand in class. And last year we saw a lot of growth from our students, particularly with behaviors and with their grades in the classroom.
It helped me a lot because I would have bad days, and I just needed a little 10 to 15 minutes to go calm down because I was usually angry most of the time. But when I went there, I got calm, so I had to talk everything out and talk all my feelings out, and that made me feel much more better. And I just wasn't as mad as I was. I think everybody should at least go in at one time. It taught me a lot. Like, it taught me how to stay calm in certain situations. It made my middle school experience go way better as an 8th grader.
We're extremely grateful to the foundation for this funding to be able to help our student body, the families, and the staff with ways to regulate, relate, and reason.
We are greatly appreciative for the foundation. Without the foundation's support, we would not have been able to complete this project. And those pictures, unfortunately, they would have continued to be damaged and maybe lost completely over time.
The funds provided by the Educational Foundation were super helpful in getting started. There is a large starting cost with this program. Those funds purchased a chiller, filter, and all the other little gadgets and gizmos that are needed to make this program successful.
My colleagues and I, as well as the entire population of Cochrane Primary, are extremely grateful to WASD's Education Foundation for funding this grant. Without it, our students wouldn't have access to these materials, and we're able to now provide these materials to students and classrooms that they wouldn't have had otherwise. So we're eternally grateful that this project was funded and that our students are able to learn and grow along with these supplies.